Let me ask you this question. Do you have any strategies for once, let's say you get a quote, you reach out to a few lenders. I wanted to drop this in here too, because a lot of people will ask like where to find lenders. And like, I think referrals are a great place. Jumping in, real estate investment groups on Facebook are a great place. Googling at some level can be, I guess, good. But let's say someone does find 4 or 5. They reach out to all of them. They take that courage. They're out there. They're putting their numbers out there. They don't let any of them pull their credit. They use your advice until they until they get a quote. What strategies do you have? Can you negotiate with lenders, A? And B, if so, how? And what strategies do you have for that?
So the answer, can you negotiate? Absolutely. You can absolutely negotiate, right? Now, negotiating will depend on a few key things, right? It'll depend on the bank itself. It'll depend on the current state of the market, right? So I was able to negotiate really well because when interest rates went up, loans took a dive and the banks are starving for loans. So they don't have as much negotiating power as when the interest rate is super low and it's like, well, if it's not you, it'll be the next person and I've got, a full pipeline, etc. So I used, I'm using that to my advantage. And having some data, right, to be able to negotiate with is really good. So if you are able to show them, hey, I have a 0-cost loan from here, match that, or can you beat that? And have them have banks negotiate against each other, right? Like 100%. And it's not just on closing costs. It can be on anything. It can be on rate. It could be on the points. It could be on terms. Like, there is negotiation to be had, because this idea of, it is what it is and I can't do anything about it. It's not true.
So what do you do? Do you just go and ask so you would actually, okay, so you just told me, so you'd try to get another quote that's better in maybe just at least one area, like, hey, it's got a lower interest rate or it's lower closing costs. And you'd show them that and be like, can you please beat this?
Yeah.
Is that a good strategy?
Yeah, and that's just the starting point. A negotiation is about give and take, right? You can't just take, because that's not a negotiation. So with the loan that I'm doing now, they gave me the quotes all at 20%, and they were all at 7 or so, and I said fine. I said here's what I want to do. I'm going to put an extra 5% down, but you're going to give me 5.75 instead. And they were like, no. I was like, yes. and we kept arguing and figuring ways to do it, right? And taking from here, taking from there, and we got the deal structured. So
that's great.
Yeah. So and originally I wanted a low rate because I really wanted to have a good cash flow from the property, and they were like, oh, just buy it down with points. And I'm like, no. I'm not going to give you the money as a fee, right? If I'm going to pay that money anyway, let me put it into the equity in the property instead of just paying it out in fees, right? At least this way I get to keep the money, right? I get to lower the risk. But again, these conversations, like, one bank may be able to do that, may be able to flex it like that. Another bank may not have that flexibility in that program, so they may not be able to. And that's why you need to talk to a lot of banks so that you can figure out where's the best spot for structuring this deal.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's so brilliant. So anybody listening, you can negotiate. You have to ask. There's give and take. And if you get those multiple quotes without them pulling your credit, key point, right, Rami, and then start playing them off each other a little bit. That's great.